welcome back. My good name is Brian Sakwa. Karibu sana. This is the last conversation of the day. Remember, we are inviting you on our socials to let us know where you're watching us from. And also, we've loaded our question right there. We are asking you about families of today. And in this conversation, we are zeroing it down to the men's perspective on some of the issues that they go through. But the question is into hili tumekuuliza, je, ni changamoto gani zina affect familia za leo? What are some of the issues that you personally are going through? I'll be sampling your feedback as we continue to banter through this conversation with my guests who are live with me in studio. Next to me is Caleb Nyoirongala. He's the founder of Light Hope Away from Home, alongside David Livingstone Kose. He's a mediator, a professionally certified mediator / ADR, and many things that he does. I want us to go deep into it. I want to start off with you, Caleb. When you look at society today, and I think October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, September was almost Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, yeah? When you look at some of the issues that especially men are handling in families today, when we want to debunk it and create a conversation in terms of spreading awareness and even bringing help. There's a time I hosted a panel of guys here who told me, as a man, when you're going through something, the shame of even opening up and telling somebody else outside is bigger than even the problem you're handling. So you'd rather die silently. Where do we begin? Basing off on your background.
Thank you very much. And first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you for giving me this opportunity, at least to deliberate on these issues when it comes to men and families affairs. And two, it's also, this conversation has come at the right time because we just on the 10th of October is when we were having International Mental Health Day. And things to do with family are much related with the mental health. Okay. So I'm very much happy to be here. To your question, I want to say majority of women we come in maybe a poor background, and you find there are some responsibilities that men are running away from, which they was the responsibility that they are supposed to do, they are now starting running away from because they feel they are not well empowered. Right. They feel that they don't have maybe job, they don't have opportunities that now are out there for people. And you find majority of the community nowadays, the mindset changed from supporting boy child to supporting girl child. So you find even the non-governmental organizations that are coming around to support people at the community level, right, they are much in energy and focus on their resources zinakuwa channeled kwa girl child. Right. So you find the boy child has been left to survive on his own. You survive on a harder way. No one is there to check on you. No one is there to at least hear your side of story. No one is there even to ask you how you are doing. So you find we are in a status where if we cannot change the conversation from girl child to include even the boy child, then we are going on the wrong direction as a country and even as a community. We need to embrace, to give opportunities to both gender. We need to embrace the boy child also, because we are ending up in drugs and substance use because of depression. No one is there to listen to us. No one is there to even know part of our stories, especially when there is some inconvenience issues at the family level. They just feel a man should do things.
There's more of like, kama mwanaume, as a man, there's like more of that than these are possible solutions to, the issues festering.
And there is this narrative that a man should not cry, a man should not share out his personal things, a man should not, a man is a hardcore person. So these have left a lot of men, basically, not even to take care of their family. Two, they engage in drugs and substance abuse. Three, they find themselves, because of peer pressure and even the pressure in the family, they engage in crime. So we need to have such kind of conversation. That's why we are here to address them.
From you, I don't know if you're a family man. You're a family man yourself?
Yes, I'm a family man. I have a beautiful wife called Emily, and also with 4 kids.
4 kids? Wow,
so
impressive.
Well, when I'll be articulating these issues, I'm articulating them
as
at the point
as a father figure.
As a father figure.
So I love that. I love that, because also when you look at it, balancing between, being a parent because you also have your own life, yeah, as a
Yes.
man. So there's you as a parent, there's you as a professional, and now there's you outside things you're handling, outside family and whatnot. And I want to throw it back to you, David. When you look at that in just the setup of you being a man and the challenges that you encounter daily, what do you think are the missing gaps and things that men should start being true to themselves and start admitting and putting it on the table? And instead of you hiding in, alcoholism, I hear in therapy and psychology, they say it's called masking. Why can't you just be honest about it? You are struggling with an addiction. You have anger issues. You dislike people instantly, and it's something you're working on. Are you able to admit it, and can it be workable so that you become a whole person?
Yeah, maybe if I can start by the triggers that causes challenges that men and women are facing
Yeah,
at the
absolutely.
family level.
Yes, please go ahead.
I may start with the one, distance relationship, two, financial instability, and three, infidelity and divorce.
Okay.
So I can say that in terms of financial instability, in a house, a house is of two people meant to be one, where everything done must be done in accordance with the agreement by the two people.
Right.
Here comes when the man cannot afford certain things in the house.
Okay.
Then the woman becomes a lot superior. Then the man suffered internally, and a lot of depression and stress. He's going through a lot of depression and stress, and he cannot mention this to his friends. So
Okay.
this comes in as a result of depression.
Right.
And he suffered internally to the extent by, at the time, even when they are eating, he comes to tell his woman, please, can you give me a cup of water? The
Yeah.
woman will reply, kwani hauna mkono? Then maybe he comes to tell his woman, take me some hot water to the bathroom. Hauna mguu. You see,
Right.
those are the kind of things that triggers all these challenges that men faces within the band. These some men will not have the guts to tell this to maybe to other friends or peers or other people. And when I come to distance relationship, this is where a lot of infidelity in quotes comes in, where now a woman is on its own, the man is on his own, and these are human beings. They at times they attempt to eat the fruit because they are human beings and they have the urge to do so. And this is where now comes a chance where now some children comes in the house who does not belong to the man, and now this also triggers a lot of things between the family. And now you see a man is carrying the burden of grooming children that doesn't not belongs to him, and is standing with this until the time when he will find out that these children does not even belongs to him. This is a long time wasted. So these are very difficult process when men are going through, including the Gen Zs. The Gen Zs are now very inferior because in our traditional line of African value, fidelity was not a constant, because when you're going into your home, you might find a spear outside the house. Then you now notice that there's someone in the house, so you start like whistling or trying to make sound so that the one in the house should go out so that you can come in at the owner of the house. And today, the Gen Z of today, no woman will allow you even to take care of your brother's wife if your brothers cannot give birth to certain children. And these are things that gives men a lot of problems in the house.
Yeah.
So when I talk of divorce now affects back to the ground of children that are not being groomed by their fathers are coming out to be with a lot of distress and a lot of difficulty. And we can also talk about the loss and the grief, whereby now one of the parents has died, now another parent has to take care of other children that not belongs to him. And all women are not the same, and all men are not the same. Some women are wicked and difficult.
Okay.
So you find one child, maybe I'm now marrying a new woman, my wife has died, and this woman, he has to cope with these children, but he doesn't like these children. So some of my children will be mistreated. Like in a case where I was handled in some case, a child was being hidden in the bathroom, being given hot tea. So, but the man didn't realize about it, because the elder son of the man who married this woman was living with a certain uncle somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was not able to notice this, because by the time the man was coming from job, the child was being unlocked from the bathroom and being placed in the sitting room.
So how did it end up? Did you end up giving them help finally?
Yes, we came in. I came in as an impartial, neutral mediator who was just solving solutions. So I had to come in and make sure that the child is in safety hands and he will not be mistreated furthermore. And this also cost a lot, because the man now find that the wife was mistreating the child.
Right.
Now there was a lot of rift.
Oh, so the child was the man's and not
not the woman's.
Oh, the original mother died.
Yes, exactly. So when the man discovered that this had been happening, they had to cut some sort of relationship with the woman again, because the child was having these bruises inside the mouth
that were inflicted by the current mother.
Yeah, exactly.
Half mother.
Yeah, half mother. So these are all depression.
Some of the issues that
it's caused a lot of things.
Household.
Yeah,
and I want to still on that, since you brought up a really good example. If we were to contrast and compare a traditional man and a modern day man, we can also use a father figure, since you're a father, and I'll come to you shortly, Caleb. The things that our fathers did and they maintained their frame as men are really incomparable, and it's difficult to even try practice be like your father. For them, they were very quiet. They would provide, and they would hang out with other men in the kikao, and they would come in the evening and they'd still be respected. You would take the word of your dad than anyone else would. But today, dad can say something and the daughter stands and say, but dad, I have an alternative. Mom can say something and the daughter will be like, I'll hear from my friend more. I don't want to hear from you because you guys don't even understand what I go through as a daughter or as a son. So if you were to contrast and compare, what is the difference that's making up society and some of the issues, again, that you've just brought about? Abuse, that's literally abuse. You know, a family, mother is there who doesn't like the kids. If you were to contrast and compare, what are the missing links between the modern day man and the traditional man, if you were to look at it with two filters?
I don't want to say that in the traditional man there was no abuse. There was abuse, but there was abuse of love. The abuse that they used to call that a wife will only be apple when at least you slap him once or twice.
So you'd say that was tough love?
yeah, that's now traditional. And even in this era, I find some couples when I'm doing mediations where some couples, some women says they cannot be happy when he is not being beaten, but which is contrarily difficult to understand. But what I know, at times you cannot be angel in the house. At times you have to fight, and when you fight, the love becomes more stronger, and that is the truth. You cannot stay in a house where you don't fight. You must fight with the children, with the father, with the woman, or with your wife.
All right.
Yeah, these are things that happen. But you know, in our current generation, our children tend to be a lot of digital. They want to copy a lot of the Western, that they forgot that there are a lot of, in the environment that we've grown in, there are some values that we cannot take away from us, whether we like it or not. There are some values that we have to go by. Yeah, whereby you cannot be feminine in everything. When it comes to family levels, in a family, one has to come down, whether the man or the woman, it doesn't matter, the arrangement of the house, but one has to be submissive for a house to
work.
Yeah, exactly.
Caleb, if you, from a married man's filter, and I want you to give your honest sentiments, if you come back home in the evening, maybe you're busy with your errands, let's say at around 10 p.m.-ish, I'm orchestrating this example, and your family has already eaten dinner, they're already asleep. And maybe your wife is waiting for you, maybe also she got tired and decided to go to sleep. And you come, you've not eaten, you're hungry, and you're like, hey, do you mind just warming me some food? And then she says, su kona mikono, kona miguu. Why can't you do that? I don't know, will you take it as literally she's honestly explaining how she feels about that situation, or maybe you are late intentionally and maybe you just need to sort yourself out? But then if you were to mirror that happening to our forefathers, even our grandfathers, they would stay wherever they were and they'd come back and still the wife would be there waiting patiently, in fact yearning to see them back. But today, endo jipikie kuna microwave, you know. I don't know, if you were to contrast the two, what is the missing link?
I strongly believe when I marry, and I have someone who I call my wife, it should remain as a wife, not as a slave.
Okay.
Because when I'm out, my wife should know where I am, what I'm doing, and in which position in which area basically I'm in. Because when something happened to me, even out there, not even inside the house, the person who will carry the biggest burden is my wife, as far as my children are concerned.
Okay.
So I strongly believe we need a change of mindset. The old days, the old system of marriage and the current system of marriage, there is totally different. Previously, women were not empowered. They were just given, once you're married, you're supposed to be at house, you do house things, you cook, you go to farm, you do what. Men were just allowed to go out, look for money, and you come and you give out money without doing anything, even without being concerned with what your wife has gone through the entire day. Okay. Things have totally changed. Nowadays, the current generation we are in, women are empowered. Actually, they are more empowered than men. Okay. So when we are in as one house, as husband and wife, we should be working together. There is this narrative that kichwa shingo iwezi ongoza kichwa iwezi ongoza shingo. Believe me, majority of men that have made it out there are men who have agreed to work closely with their wives. Okay. The successful men out there, you can confirm from them. Okay. They tell you it's because of my wife. Right. It's because of the conversation we had with my wife. That's why I'm here, and I am who I am today. Right. So we need to break that chain of making our wives be slaveries. Okay. Slaves. Slaves. Okay. Right. We also need to incorporate our wives on our day-to-day activities, not as such, but in at least in 60%. Ajue unafanya nini, unafanya kazi gani, uko wapi. You cannot come in. I'm a man. I've been in this marriage now for 11 years now. That's a lot. You cannot come in at 10, at 4 or whatever time at midnight. You've not made a phone call, you did not communicate or texting, This lady is here, even if he's not following up with a phone call where you are, but inside the mind, this lady is struggling, is like a mental torture, anashindwa huyu mtu yuko wapi. But what if she's used to you working till late, and maybe this day you did not inform her, but we'll come to that. You had
even without that, I just want to disagree, because he started in a wrong tone and he ended up in a very good tone. he must know that he's not speaking about this family, he's speaking to the entire nation. And what we are trying to put across is how can we incorporate our women so that they could be knowing what, because all families are not the families of Caleb. You may be living pretty, but other families are really living in a very bad state because of lack of communication. If you have good communication in your family, what can you do to other families to have a better communication? Because telling your wife to give you a cup of water doesn't mean that she's a slave. And telling him to maybe to iron some clothes for you because tomorrow you're going early in the morning, those are things that bonds the family, my friend. There's nothing like slavery in the house. When two has come together, everything being done is done into agreement. And when you want to chase your house, I'm talking about experience, because there's a man who was chased out of the house after 4. And when he go back they were watching some football, and he came as usual. And he was told, go back to where you are. When he went back, the waiter received her very well, and they booked a guest out. And that's where the division started, because of lack of communication. If you can't embrace your woman when your man comes in the house peacefully and tell them where were you, and maybe ask some questions, give her hot food, because those are the places where the division starts. Now we are trying to enlighten all these things. How can we make this communication track down so that it can come to a point where you can communicate well to your wife, and your wife can communicate well to you, so that this division does not come in, so that Caleb does not tell us that these are slavery people. You can't marry a slave.
He's burning. You're burning to respond. Go ahead.
We are living in a country where there is law. And the good thing with our country, there is nothing that has not been captured with the law. If you take a look of the Marriage Act of 2024, It's very clear. It gives us a definition of a marriage. Marriage is are two people coming together voluntarily. They have agreed to stay together. And it must be 18 and above. Below 18, anyone who marries a girl or a man who is being married with a woman below 18 years should be in prison for 5 years or a fine of 1 million. So at 18 years, it's an age where you can divide a good thing and bad thing. When we have agreed with a woman voluntarily to stay together and to build up
kids,
and to build up a family
and sire kids,
and in that agreement and good on the good side tukapata watoto. Believe me, this is a person, is a key stakeholder in your house, a key, a principle in your house.
But David's argument is
these two principles,
not you ordering tea or a glass of water or water to shower does not mean that your wife is a slave. So when you come late, you can go do that for yourself. But he says that you should make your wife to do that. No. Do you believe there's things that a wife should just do? Like naturally, you should be able to cook, clean, wash. Even if the father of the home comes late, at least ensure you do those things. I think that's what his argument is all about. That is happening
simply because of lack of communication.
Okay.
If there is a breakdown of communication in the family setup, believe me, your wife will not even have that energy of telling you welcome home. But if you prepare your wife in advance, like as per now, I don't know whether Kosi have called a wife and told them that I have arrived in the studio. At least there must be that kind of communication, because your wife is the #1 supportive system.
Right, true.
It should be the first person enjoying what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Ukifika home, she'll be the first person to be proud. I saw my husband on television. My husband now needs to get at least a cup of coffee. He needs to, communication.
Yeah, but so I think the point, Caleb, is
that breakdown of communication. Believe me, Kose, there is not even a single day your wife will tell you that you need to dress this way.
Yeah, but I think the argument is, can your wife still do for you wifely duties and you maintain your frame as a man? I think that's what he's trying to say. And I gave you an example of you coming at 10 p.m. and ready asleep, and you're like, dear, can you cook for me something?
One, I agree with Kose at some point that, yes, on some issues that he raised, but one, we need to have respect. We must respect each other. Two, we must have a good communication at the marriage. In any marriage, there must be a communication. Three, we must understand each other. Understanding each other means, when today I'll not come home at my normal time, maybe 7 p.m., I need to communicate prior to my family where I am and what might not allow me to come back home at the right time that they have been expecting me. But when I go silent up to 10 p.m., maybe something bad has happened to me. Maybe I've been arrested. Maybe I'm in a certain situation where I cannot come out. I need to communicate to my family so that they can expect me on such time.
Yeah, but do you usually do that?
Yes, personally I do it.
Okay.
My last time to be actually my family, if I don't do any communication, they expect me in my house, not late than 9 p.m.
9 p.m. That is the latest.
Beyond 9 p.m.,
you'll have to explain.
I have to explain.
Okay.
Brian, let me come in and say something. At least he's now coming back to the track. But I want to tell him that when you're marrying someone, you're marrying a friend. And we're marrying a friend, it's not only you that should communicate. What if you're arrested and your phone is taken? What is she doing? She need to be calling you and tell, where are you? When you always arrive in the house at 8, normally, and you're not at 8, you're not in the house by 8. Will she be quiet waiting for you to call and tell him that I'm there? She will surely, at times I've got some accidents, the way he's saying. So the keynote is, lack of communication, and how can this be reinstated?
Do people really know how to communicate? I think
we are not, no, people are not the same.
Really
people are not the same, and people are not all marrying their friends. Some people are marrying because this person has a good money, he has a good, he's beautiful. They are not marrying their friends. When
or
you
you're
don't
marrying because you are 35 and you should be married.
Because your peers have married, and and now
so
you want to marry by force. Because these things, they're mentally, internally initiated. If you marry someone who is not your friend because he has money, or because he's beautiful, or because
they come from
he's
a good
the talk
family
of the town, expect a lot. But when you marry a friend will wake up even before you tell him to give you what. He will give you what even before you say a word. And when you're doing this, it's not that you are now authoritative or dictator or whoever. He's just doing this because he loves a husband. And at times, it's not a must that he has to do that, because you also know one another in the house. And you can do them, but because he loves you, he will always do it. He will take the coat. Like now, Caleb is saying his wife knows that he's here. When he goes back, his wife should be able to take the coat and put it somewhere, ask him, do you need some tea or porridge? Do you want some hot water how are you feeling? How was the day? Those are normal things that bond the family. And enhance love within the family root. So at least we are now coming together and understanding this lack of communication, and not everybody knows how to communicate.
In short, not every man is romantic, because also I believe communication is a love language. And the way you address some certain things to this lady, it actually captures her attention. It makes you the Prince Charming of her. But then let's shift this conversation to arguments. Arguments can never cease to come up, especially between people that are living together. So when it comes, for example, for an issue that crops up, let's say maybe your wife suspects you're cheating, or they suspect in those football FIFA, hangouts, they are not really true football FIFA hangouts. You could be seeing another princess in there, and then you come back in the evening, she is jammed up, and instead of even her welcoming you, usually she throws some 1, 2, 3 tantrums. And then that becomes an argument, and you're like, you've changed, you're not always like this. And then you also start go missing. Instead of you coming back at 6 p.m., you now start coming back at 9 p.m. You come back, there's no food, and now you have to cook for yourself. So when it comes to such an issue now in a family setup, who should address it first? Should the man always take the lead and be the one to initiate the first conversation? Because I believe that can escalate to a point where now a mediator can now come in, or now a counselor, in the hands of somebody who works in the religious perspective. Who should go first, the man or the lady, or depending on the offender?
Oh, I don't want to say who should go first, but now, at least now, there's something I want to put across, that men are different human beings, and we are always very weak at the point when women are always submissive to us, and maybe Caleb can always confirm that. Whenever a woman is submissive to the point whether I've done a mistake or not, the way he will approach me and engage me in a very submissive way, I will be very weak. And even if I told her, weaker in a way that he will kill all my body, and I will be like nothing else, because now she will be the love of my life. But when it starts throwing tantrums to me, that now will trigger everything.
But that just shows that there's something you've done and it's not sorted.
It is true.
It's coming up as a trigger tantrum.
Yeah, it is true that he might find out that I've done something wrong, but the way he will approach me will escalate everything. If he has approached me professionally in a very weaker way, I will come down and say, I'm sorry.
In a weaker way, like, for example?
For example, maybe, for example, infidelity. He has some
maybe she's suspecting.
Tangible evidence, not suspecting. Maybe
or
might
she
be
already
having
has
that
the evidence.
Tangible, but we will always say no. We will always say no. But now he has something tangible. If he comes roughly, everything will escalate. But if he comes in a way that...
But why can't you take responsibility then if you are cheating and admit, I'm wrong. I apologize. And this has been happening for the last couple of 6 months.
It is true, but now that comes with the approach way. Because we are men. Men are men always. We want change to be different people. Men are always men. But in a way, I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. If you start shouting to me that, because no, we are different people. You came from a different background.
So what will you do? What will you do if he starts shouting? She starts shouting. Will you leave the house, bang the door, run away, never come back?
Did you know that some men did not start cheating at the time they are marrying their women? They start cheating at their childhood. And it's the woman who should show their men that now I am yours. There's no need of cheating. I have everything that you sweet in this house. And this will only be done by bonding and loving one another to the extent that the man will not be able to see the neighbor. If you're mistreating me in the house and the neighbor has is a woman who has got a very good what will I do?
Sure. I'll come back to you. I hope men cheat as children. I'll come back. You'll explain. Go ahead.
I think there is need of change of mindset.
Okay.
Because I feel like if this kind of the minds the ideas that my friend here is having, then we are losing the battle, and especially you'll find that's where a lot of women are staying alone. We have single mothers. Actually, single mothers are many than people who are in marriage today, because of this kind of misunderstanding and saying, I am the head, I must cheat, I must do what. Can we, for God's sake, can we have a marriage that people can be honest? Can we have a marriage that we respect each other? Can we have a marriage that you are satisfied with that one single woman? Because these women are the same. The only thing they change is names and the color, but they're the same.
But not men. Men are also the same.
But men are not the same. Believe me.
What makes men different? But yeah, I'm a man, so I'm trying to get into that space. Yeah. What makes men to naturally cheat? Because also you've said that as a man you'll always cheat. That's what you said, and you said men start even cheating as children. So
no, I did not say. I did not say as a man you will always see it. I was trying to tell you at this moment when you do a research about the cheating families and the cheating men, the percentage will be over 70 and above. And that's the truth. And we cannot lie about that. How can we solve this? A lot of this percentage of cheating is because of misunderstanding in the family, the argument topic that you're talking about, the miscommunication. And how can this be done? Because I will only start cheating when my wife doesn't want to give me the fruits of the garden. What will I do? I'm a man. But I have friends and colleagues in the workplace who also wants me and loves me.
But David, why can't you ask your wife? Why can't you have a conversation openly and tell her, you're denying me my conjugal rights, and
that's why I
feel
say
some type
all
of way.
these women are not the same. Some women are very wicked. They're very wicked. They will start sleeping in the sofa set. Some will start sleeping in different rooms.
Because
even when you try, and no man will come out and say, my wife has refused to give me this. Never. They will not say that. They want to be the biggest men of all times in the town, and they won't talk about it. They will suffer internally. That's where now they start cheating outside marriage.
Let me throw it to you, Caleb. If you were to ask for your wife for what he's asking, and your wife says no, will you push for it in a religious way, or you'll also get jammed up and sleep on the sofa?
Yeah, one thing, when it comes to marriage doesn't care your position, whether you are a CEO, whether you are a director, whether you are a religious leader, whether you are what, whether you are a police. When it comes to marriage, it's between you as individual with your wife. So you cannot bring your professionality in the marriage. That one will never work. Two, if I come home late and I need food, did I participate in contributing for this food to be available in the house?
Okay.
That should be the first key question. I need a cup of coffee when I'm back home.
Yeah.
And this house, the children went to school without even taking a cup of tea. Where do I expect that coffee to come from? So, cheating outside, my brother, is more expensive than coping up with your family, because there is no a single lady today you will cheat. You will allow you to cheat and hang out with her without expenses. You must take care of him. You must take care of manicure, pedicures, hair,
And you must
whatever.
be able to tell us, what will you do if your wife refused to give you the fruit of the garden?
I
Yeah,
think
answer that question. What will you do?
I think that was the argument.
yeah.
If your wife
One thing
denies
I
you
know-
that right, what are you doing?
If my wife denies me conjugal right, it might be either in three ways. Let me put it in 3 ways.
Yeah.
Maybe is on a monthly period. A monthly period, huwezi lala na msichana kama kwa monthly period. Actually, your wife, you cannot sleep with her. Maybe msichana huko nje, but your wife, you cannot sleep with her akiwa kwa monthly period. So lazima kuwe na that communication too. Maybe she's not feeling well. That's also another thing.
And you must understand.
And you must understand.
Okay.
Basically, majority of women, we always understand our women's when now they are sick kabisa, ile awezi fanya kitu ndo tunasema kumbe huyu msichana alikuwa mgonjwa, tunafaa kuenda kwa hospitali. But wakati anakwambia I'm not feeling well,
you don't believe her.
You need to go deeper, not going outside kuangalia msichana mwingine. You need to go deeper. Why are you feeling, why you not feeling well? Do you need any medical attention? Do you need some counseling? Do you need what? And 3, we are all human beings. And kila mtu akona shida zake. As far as we are in a marriage setup, and that's why there is no a perfect marriage. There is no, you can never ever find a marriage perfect. Poor people cry, rich people cry, simply because kila mtu akona shida zake personal beyond the marriage. So we need to understand these people in terms of personal. Ni nini huwa inaweza sumbua huyu mtu? Maybe wamekosana kwa job. Maybe amefukuzwa job. Maybe amepatana na mtu akaanza kumkatia kule kwa job. So these kind of things wanawake huwa wanapitia. Anaweza kuwa bibi yako amekuzalia watoto, yes, but maybe boss yake anamseduce ndiye apate position fulani kwa job. So the boss is anampatia pressure, manze, you know, you must sleep with me for you to get my concept to go to another level or another job group. So these kind of things, if we don't have communication hapa kwa nyumba, wife apate job is hostile, na pia apate home is hostile, itabidi hizo conjugal rights, hiyo energy ya kukupatia hiyo right yako akose. So we need to have that kind of communication in our house, at least to understand your wife. That's why I was saying communication is very important on a time to time, not on a daily basis, but on a time to time basis. Ikifika lunch hour, just call your wife, just have a chat with your wife. If I can have that energy to chat with with mpango wa kando,
why can't you divert the same to your wife?
Divert that energy. And believe me, with this tight economy, men are spending too much to those mpango wa kando than their wives. Because mpango wa kando has a lot of alternatives. So if you don't meet their demands, they can even call another person and take care and take charge of what you are supposed to do.
It means they are not getting it in the marriage, right?
But your wife has only one alternative. You as a man.
Right.
So the best thing I can do, the best thing personally, now this is my personal opinion,
right,
in this conjugal rights thing. Before I demand it or before I request for it.
Is it demanded, requested, or negotiated?
The way he brought it.
A right cannot be demanded
or negotiated.
He's telling us a right cannot be demanded.
The way he brought it, it's like demanding, I need to have, it's okay, I need to engage in conjugal rights with my wife on a mandatory basis. But I feel if I empower personally, if I empower my wife, I've opened maybe a business for her. I've opened maybe I managed to secure a job somewhere, or maybe we came in this marriage when everyone was job stable. We were doing our different work up to the time of marriage.
Right.
Then I can walk with a lot of confidence, saying that I will go back home, get something that I can hit. But if we don't empower these women, iwe bibi yangu ni ule mtu akukaa tu kwa nyumba from morning to the evening hours. That's where I was talking about the issues of slavery. Believe me, in nyumba, if you don't provide, my friend, unaweza lala hata njaa. And these women of today, they are not ready to do what maybe our women's at the past years did.
Or our forefathers
we need to empower these women.
Right.
I need to empower my wife.
Have you empowered your wife yourself?
If I cannot, if I cannot secure a job for my wife, then I need
which
to
you've done as well.
Which I've done, yes.
Okay.
If I cannot, maybe for those who cannot secure a job for their wife, a day-to-day monthly payment job, then why can't we think of business?
Right.
If your wife cannot do business, then why can't you think
employment,
of employment,
right?
And self-employment in terms of taking her to vocational training, get some skills, maybe be it in tailoring, be it in hairdressing, be it in beauty and therapies. Then this
she'll
woman,
empower herself and get something to do. David,
forward.
you're burning. Is it always that a man must step out if he is denied some of these things that Caleb has talked about? Why is it that you have to step out? Why can't you? For example, it's long distance. Maybe your wife works in Mombasa. You have to meet maybe towards end month, and you work in Nairobi. In between, why can't you just maintain the tempo and shower with cold water, like they say, and don't do anything else that God does not advise you to do until you meet with your wife at the right time, and then you can pick up from there? Is it a must you step outside and do the unthinkable?
Oh, that's why I said in the beginning that men are different within the society, and women are also different. So this is a point where you have to know who you are marrying. You are marrying a friend. You are not marrying a slave or somebody called a wife. This is a friend that will live with you for the rest of your life. The things Caleb is talking about, those are reasonable things that any human being will understand. We were not talking about periods. We are not talking about sickness. We were talking about miscommunication between the two individuals, whereby one now refuses to give the other. The other person needs conjugal rights. As a religious bishop, what will Caleb do? Because he won't go and start telling other men that, no, my wife has done. So that's the perspective where we are looking at it. But now, when it's in distance relationship, this is now depends with the kind of a man who you are, and the kind of a family you have, and the kind of what you have, what do you want in your family in the next 50 years or 40 years. Because some families are just binded there by kids. And that's the truth. We cannot run away from that. Yeah. Whether they are Gen Zs or even our elder people, a lot of them are binded by the kids. And they will tell you automatically that I am only staying with this woman because of the kids. Okay. If not for the kids, I won't be here. And that, why is that?
So what do men want exactly? That's why I think that's another question.
It's not about all men. Not all men. Men are different people. I told you that we cannot run away from the fact that we have men who started cheating in the beginning of their youthful, and they will not stop cheating. Whether you give them an angel, they will not stop cheating. They will cheat until the day they die. And as a wife, how do you cope with this? If you really loved him and you knew, even by the time you were dating him, he was sleeping with your girlfriend somewhere.
Let me tell you this, David. Does salvation not help, like getting saved and submitting yourself to Christ, like my brother Caleb here has done? Don't you think that will quench that lust and pray it away?
Of course, that is true. It will quench, but now it's upon an individual. The other people that don't even believe in God. And now it becomes very difficult even to help them. But salvation now is the key for everything. It's helped in all matters, because even by the time you're reading the Bible, you find yourself spiritually being healed through a lot of different perspectives, because some of these evil spirits are being inherited from other traditional perspective of witchcraft. So
or inherited
salvation,
patterns.
So salvation, because we have evils that are being transferred in inheritance lineage. So salvation is the key to everything, and above that, training and mediation and everything, counseling like Caleb, these are all the things that now helps these families. By the time now it comes to this difficult point where one person does not even respect, and this respect, it started with the little things like argument. The way I was telling you, there's a way that you should talk to a person you love. Whether he has done mistake, no one is an angel. Who told you that your wife will one day get some mistakes in life? Because now I've made a mistake. That's not the end of everything. We can talk about it and we reconcile and life goes on.
Let me be dramatic a little bit. Would you forgive your wife if she accidentally tripped and landed on another man?
I will forgive, not even accidentally. I will forgive even 20 times because forgiveness. You must forgive 70 times 7.
I love your
even in the Bible. Not accidental. These are people,
you
my
will
friend
forgive
Brian,
because you'll
listen,
also
listen.
cheat, right? Are you
Listen,
forgiving
just
because you'll
listen.
compensate?
Remember,
or because she's
this
human?
is somebody you got when you are already, she was
You
having
are a
32
cheater,
teeth. This is a person that grew in a different background.
Okay.
And you
my
even
friend.
found he was not a virgin. Was she a virgin when you were marrying him?
My friend.
Would you
Forgiving is there even in the church.
Would you
there
forgive
is
if your
a-
wife accidentally tripped and fell on another man?
Let's say the truth.
It's a mistake that happened.
Mimi nikipata mke wangu, mimi nimpate, wacha kusikia, nimpate. Ati amelala na mwanaume mwingine, my friend, believe me.
Temptation,
No,
lust,
in that
you
there
did
is no
not
temptation.
pray, you know?
When it comes to my wife sleeping with another man outside, it's beyond temptation.
The devil.
There is no devil there.
Okay.
So I must deal with it on the spot.
How you deal
Believe
with
me,
it?
that lady will pack and go. That's first thing. Before even we start discussing, because that's why
divorce now. That's a marriage destroyed.
That's
And now are the
why.
consequences we're
That's
discussing
why.
now.
Okay.
That's why you find a lot of men are committing suicide, and even they are ending up killing their families, the entire family. A wife. We have come across cases, a man killing wife and all children's. And this is cutting across, be it in even in the law enforcement agencies. We will find some police killing their families, the entire family, na anaenda hapa anajihua because mwanamke, hakuna kitu chungu kwa mwanaume across the mwanaume wote, hakuna kitu chungu kama kupata bibi yake amelala na mwanaume mwingine.
Would you forgive if
I cannot that one is an historical
But the
forgiveness.
Bible says you should forgive.
No,
7 times 7,
I can
77.
forgive other things.
You know?
Wacha nikisikia when someone just told me, I can even forgive because I'm not sure about it. But if you find especially, and the one that I can even forgive, nisikie ameifanya uko nje. But I find a man inside my house, kwa kitanda yangu analala na mke wangu.
That's the extreme now.
My friend, hapo hakuna forgiveness.
That's like a Nigerian movie.
And
right?
if we stay, we can just stay for a short period of time. But believe me, the end result will not be good.
Like it will change everything entirely.
It will change everything.
But David
Caleb
is
has
saying you
accepted-
forgive.
My walking,
He has
David says
accepted
he will forgive.
that he will forgive
That-
only if he hears, but not in his house.
Okay.
You know where now the communications come in. Because the consequences at which you want to divorce your wife at an aged stage, and the rigor of rough road you are giving to your children, the mental things we are discussing about now, the depression, you won't be able to treat them at all. You forgive once and reconcile, and life will go on.
Yeah.
You might
But then
decide that you are the
how
most
will you
weird
feel?
person.
You know, how will you feel as a man knowing that your wife, you married her, for example, in the altar, it was prayed for, ring put on it, bishop, the whole family was there, and then she cheats. And then
I
have
want to tell you, Brian,
have to calm down.
You didn't marry an angel. You married an human being who can sin at any time. Your wife is not an angel that now you must be perfect in the house forever. It might slide at one time. So
But then for you, you'll compensate it by doing it as well outside.
No, nothing like compensation. We are talking about forgiveness and reconciliation for the benefits of the friend that you married and of your children.
Is forgiveness is I don't know, maybe I'm not the one who is understanding well. Is forgiveness only applies when yeye ndiye amepatikana, yeye amepata mke wake kwa shida, lakini yeye yake kuifanya is like a hobby, ni kitu normal.
No.
So believe me.
So which one carries more weight? If you trip and fall on another woman, or she trips and fall on another man, who gets the forgiveness first?
They all have made mistakes.
Yeah.
And basically,
But you have to correct the mistake.
you will find what triggers this lady to engage in outside sex. Maybe it's because of the behavior that my brother is talking about. Engaging because he's trying to tell us that a man is a man of women, not a man of a man, not a man of a woman.
And that's our society.
So
we cannot run away from that.
So if we introduce such kind of things, then you find our women even decide to be a woman of men's, not a woman of a man.
It's 9:59 and we can't even add 10 seconds of it. So just say social media, moja tu where people can get to find you. Yours, David, first.
Okay, Facebook, Daudi Kose, David Livingstone, Twitter, Daudi Kose, Instagram, Daudi Kose.
Okay, yours, Caleb, are you on any platforms?
Yes, mine. I'm in Caleb Ngala, Facebook, Twitter, Caleb Ngala, and even LinkedIn, Caleb Ngala. We can get engaged hapo. And ningependa tu kusema with one verse as a religious leader. And
okay, very fast, 5 seconds.
There is this verse at
Immediately
1 Corinthians,
10, I cut you
1
off.
Corinthians 7 talks about the issues of marriage and even having conjugal rights.
1 Corinthians
7.
1 Corinthians 7 verse?
Verse, you can start verse from 1 maybe up to 10.
All right,
You'll
thank you.
find
You
all
can't
the
continue.
answers of these things.
You can't continue because it's 9, it's 10. All right, thank you both guys. It's been a riveting conversation. Hope we have a part 2.
Thank you so much.
All right, and
It
thank
should
you
be.
too for watching us from exactly 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. We'll see you tomorrow bright and early right here.